Yo, what's going on guys? HyperX here. Welcome back to the video for Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak. And in this one, we're going to be talking about the Lance. Of course, today they dropped two more weapon videos. The Longsword, which looks hella spicy. If you guys haven't seen that, be sure to check out the video on the channel. But they also showed off the Lance, which means following today, we have the last two weapons to take a look at, the light bowgun and the dual blades. But in this video, we're talking Lance. So if you guys are Lance users, if you're excited to see this one, let me know in the comments down below. Drop a like on this video. Be sure to keep it locked for plenty more Sunbreak content. And let's get started. So first things first, of course, Hunter rocking full Tetranodon gear, looking pretty beefy, pretty sort of like tanky, so definitely liking the master rank version of that one. But they then go on to show off the new Silkbind move, which is kind of very similar to sort of the insect glaive behavior. We have a thing called the Skyward Thrust, a technique where a wire bug launches you high into the sky, you thrust your lance towards the heavens, and you then pierce the earth. The falling portion of the attack inflicts multiple hits, which is kind of reminiscent of the sword and shield falling bash, so to speak. But this, as mentioned, if you've seen the sort of diving wyvern move for the insect glaive, it's kind of that same piercing behavior. So you have the ability to hit on the way up and then of course coming down. I would imagine this, given the sort of pinpoint nature of this, should hopefully deal a good degree of damage. And of course, you know, it'd be nice if you knock the monster down. It could be really good for putting some good damage on the head, or maybe using this for some precise, stylish tail cuts. Either way, that is pretty sweet. However, they then show off the switch skill. So you have this move called Shield Tackle, which is kind of similar behavior to the Guard Tackle before, only this one is a little bit different. This is described as a technique where you charge forward with your shield raised. You can also follow up with a variety of thrusting attacks. You will need to watch for an opening and then unleash an unrelenting series of attacks. Now, this is definitely one of those moves that from the showcase doesn't necessarily sort of demonstrate its full value completely. It definitely looks very similar to, of course, the Guard Thrust, but there is, of course, a blue flash during this movement. So I would, of course, imagine that you have greater sort of guard strength, so to speak. So, of course, maybe you can use this to dash through stronger moves. And, of course, you then have the ability to follow up with some additional attacks afterwards. The fact that it says you can follow up with a variety of thrusting attacks probably gives you some sort of more permutations. Of course, until we test this to find out exactly what you can do following this, it's hard to know exactly the sort of ideal use case, but you basically have more means to advance into attacks, sort of firm that damage, and then follow up to try and sort of maintain that pressure, maintain that aggression. Looking pretty cool. Of course, I will say, you know, when you sort of compare it to some of the other weapons, maybe not as exciting, but it could be one of those ones, it could be that sleeper move that maybe doesn't look that hype, but until you sort of test it out, and then you realize the use case for it, and then you think, actually, this is pretty badass. But anyway, for the time being, that is a quick look at the Lance. We are now very close to sort of wrapping up the weapon previews, so be sure to keep it locked on the channel. We'll be discussing some of the ones so far, and of course, we'll be covering the remaining ones later on this week. If you guys have missed any of our recent videos, be sure to check out one of these ones, and keep it locked on the channel for plenty more Sunbreak.